One of the beauty of medicine as a career, it's always humbling, and you never know whom you're gonna meet next day or next hour or behind the next door. And I had a patient who came to me with a challenge because he wanted information to make a decision, and he happened to be an investor. So it's a patient who understands numbers very well, understands risks, understands how you make a judgment. And it was an eye-opening because when we talked about his stage 2 colon cancer and we talked about different to treat or not to treat, to do the surgery or not to do the surgery earlier and what surgery, etc. When it came after the surgery meeting with him and he asked the question, do I need the chemotherapy or not? I told him about the percentages. He says, I'm not a percentage. What about me? And I believe that's how he thinks about his investment. We always know his risk. He says, what may trigger that decision to go to the next level, right or left? Is it high risk or low risk? And here, when I explained to him the Oncotype DX, how it's gonna give me a better objective, personalized risk of his particular tumor in his body, he says, you should have told me before. I would have been more comfortable with it. And sure enough, because as physicians, we think about it as almost an automatic process. But for patients, it was really that piece of information that relates to himself, to his tumor, that really made him more willing to listen. And ultimately, based on the test, he was very resistant. And he knew that he was classified in the high risk of the cancer coming back. He was more willing to accept that number in the context of his disease and to move forward and accept the chemotherapy despite the risk, although not very high. And he did extremely well with the chemotherapy. And even if he had a couple of side effects, he was willing to accept those side effects because it was serving for a more ultimate goal. And hence, this is where we move to the concept of personalized care of cancer. Personalized not only to a patient being a person, but the tumor, the biology being different from one patient to another. And Oncotype DX colon assay is a genetic assay that allows us really to add one additional tool to really identify the patients who have a biology of their cancer different than another patient I can see or I have seen 20 minutes earlier. Not two patients are alike, not two cancer patients are alike, not two tumors are alike. So now I have a way of approaching my patients on a very individualized way, and I am even more excited for them because I can do more for some, treat less for better outcome for others. So it's not, again, one recipe for all patients. This is not about me applying the same recipe to all patients. Oncology is a field that is extremely scientific, at the same time extremely challenging because the knowledge is increasing at an exponential rate. And that's, in fact, is a great news because we're learning more about cancer biology, we're learning more about each patient, and I'm allowed now today to provide a personalized care to the patient sitting in front of me rather than one size fits all.
For an interactive tool to learn more about your colon cancer and your personalized treatment options, go to mycoloncancercoach.org.